All right, everyone, we should be live. Let's make sure that's actually the case. Over on Rumble, of course. Unpause and repause. This is a very slow news day, so this is going to be mostly a Bantz stream. I couldn't find anything that was of particular interest, not even any science news, really. The only news that we've got is basically Rick Derringer dying, actually. It's, interesting. Copium poppies. Less less than 2 weeks to meet our GoFundMe goal. If y'all want us to put out a song where the lyrics consist entirely of slurs, see pinned tweet for details. We don't meet the goal by the 8th. No slur song. Oh, I have a feeling you'll release it anyway. But anyone, go over to the Copium Poppies and you can go to their GoFundMe page. Yeah, Yeah, it's funny. A lot of people haven't heard of Rick Derringer. Oh, no, he's only the one that produced the Hulk Hogan song and released one of the top hits of the 1970s, Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo, and produced Weird Al's first album, by the way. It's sort of like Alan Parsons, actually. He doesn't get enough credit either. The Alan Parsons Project. Okay, highly rated yet underrated. I hate it when that happens, by the way. Oh, yeah, and he produced Dark Side of the Moon, among other things, Abbey Road. Yeah, only two of the greatest albums ever created were produced by Alan Parsons. Sort of a doppelganger of uh, this particular situation. He also worked with Cyndi Lauper, by the way, Derringer did. It's interesting how a lot of times people won't get credit, actually, especially within the music industry, for things that they've done. Have you seen the original version of Girls Just Want to Have Fun? Have you seen the original version, by the way, of Drove All Night, among other things? Oh, this happens all the time. It's absolutely, I hate it. Because somebody has incredible amounts of talent, yet, even though they're highly rated, they're not rated nearly high enough. So, yeah, I only produced an album that sold 50 million copies for a reason, or something like that. Artists work together all the time. Yes, C. Brown, wobbly camera mount. Yes, my apologies. At the moment, it's a little bit on the slipshod side. I'm thinking about moving it over there, a bit to the left. I think that I can probably make that work, but I'm going to have to reformat the room that I'm in slightly. I'm in an undisclosed location at the moment. CJ, I'm friends with Alan Parson Project guys. We jam. Yeah, and that's the other thing about Alan Parsons. He's still got a voice on him. He's in his, I think, mid 70s, and he also, I'll give him respect, considering the way that I'm dressed. He did dress as a pirate in a music video, As Lights Fall. By the way, I believe his best song. I think I like it more than Eye in the Sky. Lev Polyakov, hey Sticks. Well, I can still do a New York show Friday. Hard to get lots of people to show up that day. Would Sunday, or even better, Monday work? Sunday works. Yeah, Sunday's fine. Yeah, the cranky Zier. Arr. Yes, I'm going to be on Lev's show, apparently. Sunday, I suppose. Spectre Geese, ahoy! Clanks and or Clankettes. I love the Clankettes. That would be a good band name, by the way. A lot of attractive females, actually, that are clankers. Just saying. Copium poppies. Nah, here. I have to, actually... Just a second here. Okay, that works better. Nah, we'd risk having our music banned from all the music platforms, and we'll risk getting attacked in real life by leftoids. We don't care enough about saying slurs in a song to take that risk unless we get paid. Wait till you see what I can do. In the very near future, by the way. With regards to racial material. Ruron, Sticks, whom is doing the best in President Trump's admin overall? Oh, that's a hard question. Which one is doing the... Well, it's definitely not Cash Patel or Don Bongino or Bongino or Bongino, however the fuck you pronounce it. Definitely not them. I would say Arguably so far, and I hate to fucking say this, and some people will definitely disagree, arguably Marco Rubio. Who would have thought that little Marco would be one of the linchpins of the administration? I don't know. We can go through news, though. We do have some. I've got RCP open. I just didn't docket it today because when I was looking at it, I'm like, my eyes were practically glazing over because it's like, do I really care about most of this shit? The Psychology of Party Decline from the Liberal Patriot. Yes, indeed. Left's detestable ideology could only be sustained via terror. Actually, that's from Spite. I agree with that. It's just not particularly newsworthy. I mean, I don't want to kick a dead horse in the head because that seems to be a thing now. It's sort of like after the 2016 election when Hillary Clinton went on her non-apology tour where she was blaming literally everybody else for her loss. At some point, I got tired of even covering it and just started ignoring it because it's like, okay, I'm like 12 videos in on Hillary Clinton blaming different individuals and groups of people, the DNC, the DCCC, the pink hat wearers, liberal feminists, black people, blaming everyone under the sun that she can possibly find other than herself. And it's like, at some point, it gets a little bit old. I lose excitement. I want to have an exciting life. I'd rather have a short and exciting life than a long and boring one. And if you covered Hillary Clinton blaming other people for her problems, it would be a long and boring time. So no, thank you. Donald Trump's politics of plunder. Arr, I love this title, matey. He be plundering booty. He's plundering Melania's booty at a whim. By the way, I imagine that's quite thrilling. Just saying. Supposedly, according to, the woman who had to pay Trump hundreds of thousands of dollars for defamation, he has a mushroom-shaped penis and profuse pubic hair. Yeah, I'm sure when he bought you the Porsche, you were very disappointed at having to fuck him. The last 4 years, one big cover-up. This is from Fox News. It's fairly predictable. True, by the way. Of course, over the last 4 years, you did have a covering up of Biden's mental state. He was not necessarily all there, and they circled wagons until it became impossible to do so. I still find that hilarious. That debate was one of the greatest things that I've ever seen in my entire life. Joe Biden can't even answer. Mr. Biden, what's your favorite color? Red. Come on, man. Why ask me that question? I beat up Corn Pop once back in 1959. That was basically the debate. I mean, at some point it becomes ridiculous, actually. And the fact that they covered for it, that's a little bit more meaningful when you think about it. It's not so much the fact that Biden was demented. We all knew it. I mean, the people who voted for him knew that he was not completely all there. But there were people who pretended that he was all there. Meanwhile, these people like Tapper and others were talking to him interpersonally and knew that he was gone. Or at least going. And they didn't say anything to the public. Because Orange Man bad. And that's basically why they did it. Let's get to our sponsors first, though. Damn it, I forgot to bring the Bovrite up again. Fuck. Oh. Then Anton's gonna get into chat. He's gonna, he's gonna rag on me at some point for not eating my Bovrite. It's healthy and shit. It's probably got vitamins in it. We have cultivated-mind.com, where you can get mushroom pills or dog treats now, actually. And I have tested them myself on a doggo, on a pupper. I can attest to the fact that they are considered very tasty by puppers. When the doggo follows me around, begging for treats all day, there's probably a reason for that. So again, cultivated-mind.com. We have BiltongUSA.com. That's the home of Anton's legendary biltong. Yes, you can get pretty much any kind of meat from him. And it's, I believe, hand-prepared, and it's brined according to some process that I don't 100% understand, but it's delicious anyway, so I don't ask too many questions. He's got a bunch of other stuff available there too. Marmite, Vegemite, Bovrite, goji berries. He's branched out into all sorts of things. Also, Stick, Sex, and Hammer mugs, tumblers, and shirts available. And finally, but last but not least, we have jamandbean.com. That is Jamn bean.com, the home of Clanker Coffee. It's the smoothest, most rich coffee you will probably ever drink. There are other blends available as well, and it kind of depends on the flavor profile that you want. But I'm partial to the blend that's named after the channel, for obvious reasons. We've also got tea available there as well. I strongly suggest that you try some of that because it's really, really good. By the way, use code STICKS on these sites for a discount. We'll see when Anton arrives. I went live a little bit early, so I'm not surprised that he's not quite there yet. Let's see what other weird news stories are in the docket for RCP. Oh, there's Anton. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Anton. Don't worry, I'll bring the Bovrite over tomorrow. We can have a Bovrite party, you know? The GOP's Medicaid waste, fraud, and abuse lie. This is by Washington Monthly. See, here's the problem. And keep in mind, I read these articles, so I already know sort of what's in them. Most of the time, they lie by omission or by structure. This is a big problem within the legacy media that I've talked about before. Waste, fraud, and abuse lie. So, in other words, nobody who works for Medicaid can be cut without Medicaid being itself cut. That's not true. That appears to be a lie. Rating, mostly false. Yes, if you were to cut too many people, you would, of course, have a problem. And Medicaid is one of the government programs that, at least on paper, I suppose, makes more sense, as opposed to many of the others. That being said, though, it's possible you could cut probably 20% of the people and many of the regulations in Medicaid streamline it, and people would actually get better service. Sometimes simplicity is a good thing, but the government is not good at simplicity because making it overly, large makes more money. Yeah, more people make more money, and the government gets larger and gets to abuse people more. That's the whole point. RFK Jr. confronting corrupt health agencies to Maha. I loved the AstroTurf a few days ago when they were trying to say, well, MAGA versus Maha. Oh, they're at odds. RFK Jr. is, he and Trump hate each other and stuff like that. But this was literally based on an entire fantasy. Like, it was literally concocted out of thin air. There was never any reason to say any of those things because it was never even remotely true. I found that rather amusing, actually. Spike. Japan is going to be interesting since its bond market is nearing a collapse. This event could trigger a worldwide financial crisis. Yeah, it definitely could, considering the amount that they've plowed into bonds. It could really hurt the United States, especially. Yeah, government has become way overly large. The problem is that these agencies effectively become self-fulfilling. That is, that once an agency is incepted, of course it's going to want more of a budget. And of course it's going to go before Congress and say, hey, we need $100 million for this and $50 million for that and $1 billion for that. Of course they are. They want more money. Why wouldn't you? It's the same as within a free market. It's just that it's taxpayer funded. That's the whole problem. Richard Vernadow. Dr. Insomnia, Pirate Hat will proudly sit atop the statue of Styx as well. Well, yeah, I mean, I want to be presented the way that I actually looked in life if I'm going to be statuized. That's what I'm talking about. What other topics do we have? Please stop letting RFK Jr. make COVID vaccine policies. Why? I don't understand why. I think that's a good idea. That's from the USA Today, so it shouldn't surprise us particularly that would be their particular view. The Wages of COVID, Part 1. from the American Spectator. I think that's a counterpoint article, actually. I didn't read that one. Trump's global push for peace and prosperity. Donald Trump's tirades aren't swaying Putin. See, what RCP does, and this is why I like them as a news aggregator, what RCP will do is next to each other in their docket, which you could call it, you'll have one article that'll be on one point and then another article giving a counterpoint. And I appreciate that, actually, because sometimes the counterpoint is the right one. And so you have to sort of read through it. Now, most people don't have, several hours a day to read through news articles in order to docket anything. Today, most of these weren't really newsworthy. That is, there's a reason why there are fewer links in the description. You can go to the sponsors links or the books links or something like that, but there's only one news link because the only thing that I saw that I give a shit about was Rick Derringer dying. Yeah. I'm just saying, I might have listened to Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo an excessive number of times. Wish I had it on vinyl, actually. Man, that would be great. If Winter's Lodig sticks every time you mention Harvard for now, please use your Aussie or British voice. Why would I do that when you mention Harvard? Did Aussie go to Harvard? Where's me drugs? Where's me booze? I like doing the Aussie impression. Ozzy and Bernie. Ozzy Osbourne is a degenerate and supports capitalism. You loony, you fucking old man. Copium poppies. Fact, studies have shown that buying Copium poppies music and merch is correlated with low cancer rates, immunity from herpes and AIDS, and getting lots of pussy. Trust the science. And this is why I love my job. Yeah, maybe I should do a video where it's like Ozzy Osbourne and Bernie Sanders having a debate or something like that. And so Ozzy gets like all incoherent and Bernie Sanders is always incoherent, but at least, you can understand what he's saying. I propose that ice cream should be subsidized for the poor. I grew up poor and nobody ever gave me any fucking ice cream. I worked as a butcher. Sometimes I get a cone. That's about it. What are you talking about? Ozzy, you should know. Ice cream should be subsidized. The taxpayers should subsidize this. No, let me cut you off. You mean that I have to pay for other people's ice cream cones? Again, nobody ever gave me one. That would be probably funny. Fucking hell. And then Biden cuts in. I can't do a good Biden impression, but, then he can start rambling about corn pop, and then he comes along and steals both of their ice cream. Copium Poppies, you should do a video in character as Ozzy live reacting to our album. That would be funny. Yeah, I like doing the Ozzy impression. In fact, I should do a whole live stream just as Ozzy Osbourne, I suppose. I don't know if I can keep it up for an entire hour, but... Oh, Dimebag Dale, I could do a little bit with Bill Clinton. I'm gonna steal that ice cream and shove it up Ozzy's wife's pussy. Well, that's fine as long as you pay me. That's okay. Pay? You shouldn't have to pay for ice cream. Well, fucking put out of this. I'm talking to this other bloke, who are you? My name's Bill. Bill, didn't you shove a cigar in someone's pussy once? Well, yeah, I sure did, and it was a fun time. Well, yeah, I've done that too. I guess we'll get along together. Leave the ice cream alone. I don't know, I'm just having fun. Again, there's not a whole lot of news to talk about today. I'm basically just going through news titles at the moment. Andrew's Animat. What is happening? I'm Ozzy Osbourne now. Come on. Fucking cunt. I'm just joking, don't worry. I'm not actually insulting you. Yeah, I do love me some firecrotch. Andrew's Animatics. I'm on the Who's High. Yeah, no, I'm actually perfectly sober. I just like doing impressions. People seem to like the Ozzy and the Bernie best. I can do Bill Clinton, but it's not perfect. Basically, I can do a few others. What other impressions can I do? I can't remember actually. Those are my two favorites, so I pretty much stick to those ones. I think you should only do impressions if you're relatively good at them. I think I do a relatively good Bernie and Ozzy. Um, People didn't think that my W impression was particularly impressive. I gave Laura Bush a big orgasm last night. I've got a nuclear strategery. It's kind of canned at some point. Then it stops being funny. Zolodig, Netanyahu claims Israel just killed Mohammed Sinwar, Hamas leader. Oh, that might be breaking news. Let me look that up. That might be something newsworthy. Yes, that is indeed true. Israel is now claiming, fairly breaking in the last couple of hours, Hamas Gaza chief Mohammed Sinwar has been killed, according to the Israelis. Copium Poppies, our album is only 40 minutes, roughly 45 minutes if you include the non-acoustic version of The Voice of God as a Gunshot that we released after the album. You wouldn't need to go for an entire hour. Good song, by the way. So apparently, yes, the Israelis are claiming that Sinwar is indeed dead. I'll probably have to make a one-off about that later. I can't do a Bugs Bunny impression, Lemon Curd. I'm sorry. I don't think I can pull that off. You have to practice impressions a little bit before you actually unleash them. I might be able to pull it off, but I'm not sure. I'll have to practice. Lev Polyakov. This Sunday, Styx is on BTR, Patreon live stream, later edited for YouTube release. If you're in the New York City area and want to meet Styx, $20+. Patrons can attend in person, patreon.com/breaktherules. Yeah, so if anyone wants to have a meet and greet, I'm going to Lev's studio, actually, on Sunday, it seems. So I'm going to be having a chat with him live. That's going to be fun. I've wanted to do it for a long time. It's just that I live in Vermont. I don't live in New York City, so I figured, well, I'm in the city. I might as well go on the live stream. Copium Poppies. Didn't Hamas leader die almost a year ago? I remember seeing pics of his corpse. That was a different leader. This is their specific Gazan leader, I believe. Sinwar. Spike. If Israel strikes Iran against U.S. wishes, especially while negotiating a deal, what would be the best course of action for the U.S.? Condemnation and an embargo, and say, cut it out. Punishment sometimes is necessary. There are several people in this world that are about to learn that the very hard way. F. Winters Lodig, how about Bernie and Ozzy debating over Trump Harvard University funding? I think that it's terrible that the Trump administration is taking money away from this college. You mean like a school, right? That's what you loony the Americans call a school, right? Yes, indeed, Ozzy. That is where you go to learn. All I learned in school was how to smoke marijuana and take pills, things like that. Then I made music, with my mates. Well, yes, it's okay if you're a dropout. There's nothing wrong with dropping out of school. Sometimes life hits you hard. And so things go wrong, you drop out, you can't get to your classes or something. No, that's not why I stopped going to my classes. I just wanted to get high all day. Well, I'm glad to tell you, Ozzy, I don't support the drug war. Well, what do you mean by that? I believe that people should have the right to use marijuana. Oh, what about the more fun drugs? What about those ones? You want some cocaine? I don't know. I'm just goofing off. Yeah, the Aussie impression I always have fun doing. BB Ski SQT League. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Wait, I think, did I miss one? No, I didn't miss one. Okay. Sometimes I do. I do apologize, by the way, if you ever send a super chat or a Rumble rant and I don't read it out. It's hard to keep up with two chats at the same time because Rumble, unfortunately, doesn't cast over to the StreamYard, so I have to have two tabs open. It's especially more difficult when I'm not using my big screen, so it's a little bit different. Waifu body pillow. He is still genetically part Jap. No, actually. There is a myth going around the internet that I'm part Asian. It's possible that I've got part Abenaki heritage. That would be fairly little, 1/16th, 1/32nd. I'm not 100% sure, and we're not even sure if that's real. I am not part Asian. This was a myth started by idiots online saying that my dad was half Asian. He is not. He's of British extraction, actually. He's 100% English and Scottish, actually. I don't know exactly why the rumor was started, probably for trolling purposes, and it wouldn't bother me if I was part Asian. But it's no. If I was part Japanese, that would be great. And explain why I like sushi so much. Vulcus, whatever in creation exists without my knowledge exists without my consent. Interesting. You're being raped by the universe at the moment. That sounds terrible. Yeah, Mike, well, according to Elizabeth Warren, 1/16th is enough. Yeah, she's so waspish. When she did that genetic test, and she shouldn't have taken it, they determined that she might have an ancestor from like 1,000 years ago that was Peruvian or something like that. That there might be one person in that lineage that actually contributed to her DNA. It's like, damn, you're way whiter than I am. Holy shit. Hmm. I should lean into it and endorse the mythology of being part Japanese and start wielding a katana and claim that it's my cultural heritage or something. Then demand money from the government. Copium Poppies, you're one of the few YouTubers who actually makes an effort to read all the super chats. As someone who has gotten pissed off at YouTubers for ignoring super chats, anyone pissed at you is being petty. Well, there are people that don't like me. When you get to this level, you make some enemies. You know. Barack Obama, she's a fucking glass of milk with eyes. Yeah, Elizabeth Warren is one of the whitest people in the goddamn fucking country, actually. When she rambles about having Cherokee heritage because she has high cheekbones, that was funny enough, but then deigning to take the genetic test only to find out, you're basically 100% white. One of your ancestors, 50 generations ago might have been from Peru, but we're not sure. And that probably would have been the result of colonial rape anyway, so I don't understand what her point was. And by the way, I doubt that she has a distant Peruvian ancestor at all. Those genetic testing firms generally insert a little bit of something other than whiteness into white people's results. They're doing this for a very clear political reason. In fact, there was a scandal about it several years ago where they were claiming that pretty much every person who's clearly of European diaspora has sub-Saharan African DNA. And they got in trouble for this, actually. They're probably still doing it. Cleaning guitar. Hey, Sticks, I'm a Nigerian prince. If you give me $1,000, I'll give you two. Yeah, the number of scam DMs that I get, like just on Twitter alone, has become unfathomably large. Uh, it happens literally like hourly. And so it makes it difficult. Actually, oh, by the way, that's actually something that I should point out. If you DM me on Twitter, and we haven't been DMing to begin with, it is difficult for me to find your DM in the requested. I've got my DMs open, but I mean, I get so many of the spammy ones, like, ha ha ha, I'm 39 and living in Singapore and like older men. How old are you? That's a common spam. Or, something crypto related like, oh, here's the code to use. I've left you $10 million. We've never spoken before, but of course, if you just go to this website, don't worry, you can get a bunch of money for free. I'm glad that so many people want to offer me like between 10 and $20 million. The problem is it's a spam site. It's basically for phishing purposes. Yeah. Unfortunately, Nigerian princes don't give out money on the reg for no reason. F-Witter's loading. How's the... Oh, just a sec. How's the homeless scene over in New York? When I was there 6 months ago, it wasn't good. Um, in this particular area, there's no problem. Not really seeing anything. If you go to a bad neighborhood, I'm assuming that it's considerably worse. Richard Bernadette. I like that. I once took a DNA test. They said I had very good genes. I told them I only buy Levi's and Calvin Klein jeans, so yes. Hmm. Jesus. Let's see. Trump will walk away from Ukraine. That's a good thing. By TAC. I agree, by the way. Um, what are we accomplishing? Can I please ask what has been accomplished in Ukraine other than chaos? Nothing. We've wasted over $150 billion and accomplished nothing. Walking away from Ukraine under the right circumstances, we can talk about that in a separate video I did yesterday, but I can bring it up again. Under the right circumstances, appeases everyone. Putin doesn't get humiliated, Zelensky doesn't get humiliated, and the United States doesn't get humiliated. Everyone goes back to normal, hopefully, and we hope for a prolonged period of peace. That's all we have to do. There are methods by which this can be accomplished. It's just going to be very, very difficult because nobody seems to want to come to the negotiating table. Other than Trump. He's interested in it. Putin and Zelensky don't seem to give a shit, so, at some point, you gotta say fuck it. Dem reps aren't done pushing for Abrejo Garcia. Yeah, I saw that actually the other day, but it's not really of any interest at this point. Ono should not be University of Florida president. Wait, do you mean Yoko Ono? Oh no, Santa Ono. Okay. I didn't read that one. I was worried that Yoko Ono was now a university president. Can you imagine? And especially with the musical system. Can you imagine Yoko Ono's musical class? It'd be like basically Xena the Warrior Princess. Yeah, 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 yeah. Celestial. Damn, wish I was famous enough to have people offer me free crypto and Asian kitty. Yeah, I mean, I have no problem with, Asian chicks. Of course not. I use the internet. But sadly, most of those are just dudes that are trying to get my money. It's a never-ending battle. Winter's loading. Trump will walk away from Ukraine, but impose sanctions on Russia? Well, you can do both. You can sanction Russia and use that as negotiating leverage. You could sanction Ukraine and do the same thing and strong-arm Zelensky. But Trump would probably be removed from office if he tried. It used to be on the internet that you could actually find, willing partners, so to speak. It's a little bit different now because most of those accounts aren't real. Some of them are absolute bots, actually. Mm-hmm. Someone who knows to witness. Sticks, this pirate LARP is gay as fuck. Please stop. No. You should see how many compliments I get when I step outside. Man, I was in Times Square the other day, Yes, you get people that want to take selfies with you when you dress this way. Honestly, I think some of them thought that I was a street performer or something like that, though, so there's that. MF Damien, given yesterday's cryptic statements, should we be on Styx and Hero Watch? Something may blaze of glory, or something gay like Turbo Cancer? Peace out. No, no, I'm not on An Hero Watch. Don't worry about that. ACJ, here's a pirate song for you. Okay, let me grab that link. Just a second. I gotta put it on the other tab though, so and I can't listen to it while I'm doing a live stream. I'll listen to that afterwards. I do appreciate any pirate music. Yeah, that's always good. Styx, you've thrown a temper tantrum. Wait, what? You've thrown a temper tantrum calling it chaos magic long enough. Please go back to Hawaiian shirts. Oh, it's getting warm enough for Hawaiian shirts soon, but I do prefer this overall look. Although, I could be a Hawaiian pirate. That would be fun. Somebody's texting me. Let's see what it is. Hopefully it's not someone who knows that I'm working at the moment. Oh, it was just my mom saying that I was being goofy. She watches my live streams. Hello, Mom. Spike, we can't really sanction Russia anymore, especially since Biden booted them from SWIFT banking. They've been trading around the dollar for a while. Yeah, the problem is if the sanctions don't work, what do you do? If you can't attack the nation because it's got nukes, and you've run out of options with regards to sanctions, and you're not capable of fully embargoing them, you're pretty much incapable of doing anything further. I think we should just get rid of sanctions on every country. Fuck it, we should have total free trade. We should use sanctions as leverage to reduce the tariff rate on from other countries towards us to zero or near zero, and then reduce our sanctions and call it a day. That would be pretty great. The pirate hat will always be back, Kenny. It will never leave. Soon I'll be a Hawaiian pirate, because even right now it's warm enough that having a long-sleeved shirt on is a little bit onerous. There's a reason why I don't have the jacket on. I'll have it on when I go out later, but I'll still be all sweaty. F Wonders Loading, Americans are notoriously bad at foreign languages, but apparently the easiest language to learn for those with zero foreign language experience is Norwegian. Oh, I didn't know that. I would expect it to be difficult. I'm speaking in runes. Copium Poppies. Hi, Styx's mom. Bobby, what does Mommy think of the pirate shtick? I think she finds it cool, actually. I'm a cool dude. You can't stop a vampire. It's not possible. Again, soon, watch what I can do. Yeah, Rupert, Styx is going to judge a baking contest. He loves to pirate. Oh, God. That's a joke. That's a joke that I should be making. Trump figured out how to hit Harvard where it really hurts. Yeah, it turns out when you take a bunch of money from somebody, sometimes it causes them problems. If Harvard is too top-heavy, of course, it's going to make it a little bit more difficult to pay their legal expenses when they contest the case. And I admire Trump for that. Harvard shouldn't be getting any funding. They shouldn't have any money from. No college should get any money from the government. Literally, they should all stand on their own. They used to. They used to be capable of it. A grant for maybe there's a disaster or something like that. Your gymnasium just burned to the ground, so you fund that, to replace it or something. Beyond that, it should be free market. Everything should be. Harvard is part of the government deep state. Oh, that's from American Voice. I'm not sure that I agree actually with the substance of the article. Here's why. Harvard is not part of the deep state. It just contributes a lot of people to it. And then they get a lot of money, and then they give a lot of money back to Harvard. And so that's why they do that. It doesn't mean that they're intrinsically involved in the central sense. So, the educational complex is paired with the deep state, but it's semi-separate. It's semi-independent, I would say. California high school could test Trump's anti-indoctrination order. Yeah, that's wonderful. So we want to tell kids about sphincterbation. That's, again, we've gone crazy. I know that I have. Copium poppies. The Pirate Bay should sponsor Styx's channel for obvious reasons. Hey, that's a good idea. Get me in touch with him. Yeah, if they DM me, that would be fine. I think I missed a super chat over here. The hell is it? I'm pretty sure I missed one. And we don't want to do that. Huh. Interesting. Cygnus, I have not moved to New York City. I'm on vacation at the moment. It's a work vacation. F. Winters Lodig, Harvard should be completely defunded, maybe except for pure research. Also, it's true Elon Musk completely stepping down from Doge. I'm not sure. There are rumors that he's stepping down from that particular role, but it was always meant to be a temporary role anyway, so it wouldn't surprise me. It probably is true. King of Biltong. Biltong is one of the highest protein snacks in the world, boasting nearly 50% protein and packed with B12, creatine, iron, zinc, and more. Visit www.biltong.com and use code STIX for 10% off. It's strongly suggested that you try biltong at least once. I have a feeling it'll be more than once, though, because once you eat it, then you're going to get addicted to it. It's sort of like encouraging someone to smoke a cigarette, I suppose. Yes, Carlos Danger, Rick Derringer did. He wrote and produced Hulk Hogan's theme song, which is quite popular. Yeah, Rick Derringer is a pretty cool dude. Well, was. I mean, he's still cool even though he's a corpse. But, yeah, he produced a bunch of things for multiple individuals. He worked with Lauper, he worked with all sorts of people. And then, of course, he had several major hits. And apparently, the story is that the original press of Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo, like the actual original that you could, potentially remix into higher definition and shit, apparently is lost. I can't remember whether it was in that California fire or whether it had been lost to begin with. So you've only got the original version and then, of course, the live versions and stuff. Apparently they lost it. Somebody can tell me that. Was that lost in a fire or did they just misplace it? Yeah, Wasted Bonehead will be talking with Derringer probably later. Sigil. So apparently this past weekend I found out I have an inherited condition where my skull can become dislocated from my spine by moving in just the wrong way. My neck is basically broken right now. Uh, just don't move my neck and it won't feel like I'm being stabbed in the brain. But then my neck muscles get sore as hell. It fucking sucks. My condolences. Can't you get like a neck brace or something like that? I mean, maybe you can get a blue shirt like the Tourette's guy and, that sucks. Yeah, shit. F. Winters Lodig, Sticks, another impression I would like to see from you is Elon Musk. Yeah, I can't do an Elon Musk. Again, you have to practice before you do impressions. Look, I've been doing my Bernie impression for quite a few years now. And all is easy. Uh, Let me try to explain. Uh, First, you gotta get drugs in, And what was I saying? Yeah, then you go get your daughters and because we're in the area, and then if I fucking can't I can't even speak right now. But at some point you just speak like Aussie, and you don't even need to be inebriated to do it. But you have to pretend to be. For some reason, people find that funny. Bobby, the quartering was talking about how Styx gave him AIDS and herpes. Thought if he did utter that, I'm sure it was as a joke. People, it seems like people that don't like me and or don't like Jeremy really want to stir up shit between us. It seems like there are a number of people that are obsessed with that basic topic. I assure you that it will not work. Rose color, but my Aussie's not horrible. You're a loony British. Sigil Stone, I have hair as long as yours and a beard. I'm not wearing a neck brace for 10 hours at work. Apparently, a chiropractor can fix this, literally resetting my skull onto my spine. Gonna make an appointment. I really hope to see you at the next live stream then, because that sounds risky. I'm not a big fan of chiropractors, actually. No offense to any chiropractors out there. I think that in some cases it is more snake oil than anything else. I always thought it's a little bit odd, to tell the truth. Yeah, you do not want to fuck around with this part of the body too much, unless if you can help it. You don't want to fuck around with that. You end up in a wheelchair, as a fucking vegetable or something like that. But if you have a skeletal condition, my advice, and this is unofficial medical advice, I am not a doctor, would be to go to the goddamn actual doctor, not to a chiropractor. That's what I would do. Well, actually, I probably wouldn't do anything about it because I wouldn't care. But, you know, everyone dies sometime. But if your skull literally comes off of your neck, that sounds like a condition that would probably kill you. Actually, at that point, you'd probably want to be dead because the alternative is being paralyzed from the neck down for the rest of your life and ending up like Stephen Hawking. So please, go to the actual doctor. That would be what I would ask you to do. F. Winters Lodig, I think Elon Musk is similar to Ozzy, but just more scientific sounding, with more ums and pronounces every T in a word. Yeah, yeah, he does seem a little bit like that. Like, there's that one picture of him from when he was, like 30 or something like that. I mean, like in his 20s or something. And he looks sort of like a member of The Cure or something like that. I thought that was hilarious. Andrew's animatics. If Styx gets paralyzed, put neural links into his brain. Yeah. If I ever get paralyzed and I can't move my arms and legs, I would beg for a clanker to literally kill me. It would be a living death. I would rather be dead than have to suffer that fate. That's one thing that I couldn't do. Because imagine when you are extremely independent and extremely interested in outdoors things. Imagine not being able to walk or move your hands. Oh, yeah, and I wouldn't be able to do anything book related or my work anymore, so I would be basically just sitting there all day. And I would just be an inconvenience on other people. Well, that's not fair. So I would beg for somebody to give me a little injection, so to speak. If Windows loaded, like in Twitter. Sigil, we've got a decent chiropractor around here. They do stuff with factory workers, so they stow the bullshit and get referrals from actual donors. Huh. I'm gonna get a CT scan and see a doctor before getting my neck fucked with. Don't worry, I'm not retarded. Didn't say that you were. I was just making a recommendation because the first thing you said was chiropractor. It's like, it's fine, but talk to the doctor, you know? Bobby, he was also talking about how he bled from his asshole for 2 weeks after Stick shoved a carrot up his asshole. Oh God, you are relentless. I have to admire your trolling though. Oh God, another alarm. The fuck with this? Give me a fucking second. Jesus H. Christ. All right. Thank the Lord. Oh, I'm thanking myself. Sigil, actual doctors, not donors. Fucking phone. And doctors here are UPMC. Chances of success can vary. Yeah, look, I'm in a house with multiple people. And some of them have phone alarms that go off at different times because most people apparently are incapable of determining what they need to do at any given point. Just saying. So, yeah, it's a little bit distracting when you hear that phone noise in the background, the one on the Android, the ding dong song. Oh God, I hate that. Andrew's Animatics. I'll do a super chat, but you have to do some blow next. I ain't got no blow. Been dry for a little while and don't have any, no cocaine? No, Bobby, I am not in a flop house. I am in a friend's house. I decided to take a vacation. I wanted to see New York City because, it's pretty cool. Times Square, that area, very crowded, very fun, and they like pirates there apparently. Hello to all of those of you who saw me the other day. Yeah, you get people taking fucking selfies and stuff, and I'm sure I'm in the background in other people's pictures, so, I'm immortal now. Sigil, UPMC does have some great doctors, but they gotta draw a lot of water from a shallow talent pool. Know what I'm saying? Yeah. Turtle's toy box, his mom and dad kicked him out. By the way, using the word mum, you're revealing yourself to be from the British Islands. No, and no, they haven't actually. American Horse Pirate. Does it really smell like spoiled milk? Are you going on the subway? I've been in the subway, so yeah, dozens of times already in the last few days. You kind of have to. And no, New York City doesn't smell bad at all. This is not Chicago. I'm having fun. There are a few more news titles that I wanted to read out. How California destroyed its middle class. Hmm, let's see. How could it be? Oh, excessive taxation, that'd be part of it. And waging war on the middle class through regulation. And stomping on small businesses. Well, those three reasons might ring a bell. California does all three of them. And then we, by the way, have approval polling. Trump's approval rising to almost 48%. This is actually really high for a president. In this hyperpartisan climate, for the last few administrations, typically it's low 40s. Like 43 would be a decent number. And then 40 would be okay. And then when it falls below that, it's sort of like, that's not really great. Biden was below that for most of his presidency, by the way, down in the 30s. For Trump to be so high up when he's facing the headwind of dealing with a fickle public that will be told incessantly that he's responsible for Biden's shitty economy, dealing with diplomatic crises, multiple of them, and dealing with an incessant propaganda campaign against him, saying he's insane, he's sick, he's an evil person, and stuff like that. The fact that he can get pretty close to 50% in the aggregate is actually quite something. And it shows that the American public is less ignorant than the legacy media wishes that they were, because they're seeing through the bullshit. And that's literally all it is. It's bullshit. Donald Trump is doing a good job. Is he God Emperor? No. Is he doing a much better job than his first term and a good job overall? Yes. That's how I look at it anyway. Tapper's book condemns journalists in more ways than one. I didn't even bother to goddamn report on that story. Because I figured, that's kind of a flooded market, so there's no reason to do so. There is a reason for it. If you haven't seen the story, Google Jake Tapper at any given time. I'm sure that you'll be able to find plenty to talk about. Texas 10 Commandments bill is lawsuit bait. Yeah. Apparently, Texas wants to put the 10 Commandments, I believe, in every school, actually. And that's clearly not going to stand. That's clearly unconstitutional. Or, you could do it a different way. I'll give you a hint. It involves the Satanic Temple, ironically. Those leftoids that are so cringe. The one thing that they did that I agreed with was that when the Arkansas, was it the state Supreme Court or the State House? I can't remember. They put up a 10 Commandments monument. They said, very well, this is acceptable. We're going to put up a Moloch statue right next to it. And they ended up winning. And so they trolled Arkansas. Or was it Oklahoma? I don't know. It was one of those states. I believe it was Arkansas. And I supported this because it's a free speech issue. If you get to put up a religious monument in the state house, in a courthouse, whatever it happens to be, then any competing religion should be able to do the same thing. So should atheists, by the way. If they want to have just a piece of stone that says there is no God or something like that, it's all right. Who cares? I don't care. Either have all the monuments or none of the monuments. That's all. Yeah, Last Beacon is yelling midget over and over again. I don't know why, actually. Yeah, missing from tell-all episodes. How did Biden careen so far left? It's called running for office. You hide your real beliefs when you're attempting to get elected sometimes. Most people do. Unless you are a particularly stellar character, you're probably going to have to do that because you're probably a goddamn scumbag. That's why DC is a mess. That's why every state house is a mess. Just saying. Money talks with Florida's new attorney general. Yeah, they're rambling about that. Everyone hates Florida. Even Floridians. It's just the way that it is. Dilly Bond, Sticks, never say about Canada being annexed. I need Fallout to be real. Yeah, while I would have no problem with Canada becoming a territory of the United States, there's no feasible way to do that. As I explained this morning, first Canada would have to leave the Commonwealth. This possibly means diplomatic problems with the UK. Then they would have to petition for annexation. Now, any nation in the world, by the way, can do this. Right now, if a country were to say, we want to be annexed by the United States and become a territory, they're capable of pleading to do so. They're capable of going Puerto Rico status. Kenya can do this. The Philippines can do this. Anyone can do this. But first you have to leave the Commonwealth, then you have to petition, and then the petition has to be credited by the House, the Senate, and the President of the United States. While I think Trump probably would sign off on it to make Canada a state, the odds of it getting through the legislature are virtually zero. And the odds of it ever advancing that far anyway are zero. Because again, there's like a 4-step process that you have to go through in order to make this happen. And with each step, there's a very, very diminishing chance that it would carry. Basically, you might as well, if you believe Canada is going to be the 51st state, you might as well go and buy a lottery ticket, is what I would say. Yeah, it's not going to happen. I mean, literally, they're part of the English Commonwealth, so you have to leave that first. Could start a war if they tried. I don't think Canada would win the war, by the way. The military is while relatively sophisticated, I do not believe on the same order as the UK, which has nuclear weapons. Maybe the king will say, you know what, fuck this shit. I'm just gonna start World War III. I'm bored. I'm dying anyway. Who cares? Sigil! Or we can make it a one-step process and send in the army. Who's gonna stop us? I don't think that you would want to try to use the U.S. Army to occupy Canada, considering its vastness. It'd be better to mobilize the militia and just say, hey, you go and fight and kill some Canadians, you can just steal their land. We could overrun them. Yes, absolutely. It's just at what cost and for what purpose, basically. Haha, I've got a farm in Canada. I grow long grain black rice. Titus Flavius Vespasianus. 18-year-old Goths? Sign me up. You do see a lot more gothiness here. Although that's more among people our age. I'm assuming that you're probably middle-aged like me. Um, that's just an assumption. But yeah, you see more alternative dress here than you would see in like small town America. It's pretty cool. It's funny. Most of the people that have interacted with me have been black, actually. There was a black dude, he had a tricorn cap on. And he's like, wow, you're the only other person that I've ever seen wearing one of those. So we were doing some fist pounding. That dude was cool. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, you see all sorts of crazy shit in New York City. There's a scammer on every corner, and well, usually more than one, and food literally everywhere. You can get any food that you want. It's basically the entire downtown is just party zone. It's great, actually. I never thought that I would consider big cities great. I've always been very much like nature. I want to be alone. But ever since I went to New Orleans, and now certainly that I'm in New York City, I feel a little bit different about big cities, honestly. Sigil, Canada is vast, but most of it uninhabitable wilderness and doesn't need patrolling, and you missed a rant from me. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I missed another one. Jesus H. Christ. Where is it? Oh, I missed several rants actually over there. Sigil. Styx's parents didn't kick him out. He's on the run after giving HIV to the entire New Orleans District Attorney's office. He plundered their booty holes while dressed as a witch doctor, screaming, "Stoneless!" F. Winters Lodig. With all due respect, Styx, I don't know why anyone would want a vacation in New York. It's a horrible idea. Go to a tropical island, the mountains, or to Europe. Just anywhere else. No, it's fun. Copium, you should have asked Black Tricorn Dude to take a selfie with you or come on the stream. Yeah, I typically, I don't really do selfies. So, yeah. I mean, occasionally, but I've always found it weird how some people, like, that there's that joke about, like, taking a picture of an object, and it's like, here's what the man does. They take a picture of the object. Here's what a female does. And then they've got like the phone. I mean, like they're blocking the shot entirely. They're taking a selfie with it. Um, but you see plenty of men taking selfies too. And I never really understood the concept. I don't understand it. F. Wonders Lodig, if Dan Bongino, or Bongino, or Bongino, whatever the fuck it is, and Cash Patel couldn't do it, there must be something monumental there. You can put Rand Paul and Alex Jones in those roles. I'm not sure they would save face. I would much prefer Rand Paul and Alex Jones being the heads of the FBI. Because Cash Patel and Dan Bong whatever Eno are not doing their jobs. Vic Vega, have you been to Chinatown yet? Yes, I actually got some delicious food just the other day. I got General Tso's chicken and a very good wonton soup. But I can't remember the name of the restaurant, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, I normally do not eat chicken. I'm gonna go off in a few minutes, but let me have one last little mini rant. I am not a big fan of chicken. Uh, except under two circumstances. If it's a full roasted chicken, heavily herbed and stuff like that, okay, I'll eat those drumsticks. And you'd best save the drumsticks for me because you ain't getting them. Um, Otherwise, General Tso's chicken. I mean, sesame chicken's all right, I suppose, or some fruity chicken. I prefer it to be in a sweet sauce. Copium poppies. I mean, running into another dude wearing a tricorn hat. The likelihood of that occurring isn't very high. The situation warrants selfies being taken. Oh, also, you can hear Dan Bongino on his show. Yeah, you can probably hear him taking a fucking crap. Jenny, Sticks, brine your chicken. I can't eat dry chicken. I will spit it out. I made Parthian chicken one time, and it came out perfect. The outside was slightly caramelized with the brine that you use, and the inside was perfectly cooked. It was just at that point where it was still really moist, but it was fully cooked through right to the bone. Um, Actually, I did it perfectly. And let me tell you about the potatoes. Had baby potatoes and chopped them up and put them in. And the recipe doesn't call for that. You normally you'd cook them separately, but actually in the caramelized sort of mix when it cooked into the potatoes, it was one of the most amazing things that I've ever cooked. Yeah, Parthian chicken. Look that up from Tasting History, actually. I couldn't use lovage. I did have to substitute for that. Otherwise, the recipe was basically intact. And I didn't spatchcock the chicken. I couldn't find a full chicken at the time. I didn't have time, so I used drumsticks. Other than that, it's an original recipe from Tasting History. And let me tell you, it was good. I've cooked some things from the Golden Ones recipe book, some things from Tasting History. Although I've lost the cookbook from Tasting History that I got. I don't know where it is. It's probably behind something on my bookshelf, but I've got a lot of books, so finding it a little bit more difficult than thinking about finding it. Uh, I like to cook. Just saying. Ulrang the Viking, Dino Nuggies. Hey, don't shit on Dino Nuggies. I'll eat those too. I like chicken nuggets. Copium poppies. I mean, running into an. Oh, I already read that one. Hey, you don't get a freebie. This one I'll read. It cut off the super chat. You can hear Dan Bongino pronounce his name of the show, Bongino. Oh, okay. So it's officially Bongino. I'm going to keep pronouncing it otherwise, just so that if he sees one of my streams, he gets pissed off. F Wonder's loading. I'm with you on chicken. If I'm in a restaurant, there's steak, fish, lamb. Oh, and it jumped to the bottom for some reason. Steak, fish, lamb, and chicken. There's that one person who says, I'll have the chicken, but it's not me. Out of those, if I'm looking for lighter food, I'll take the fish. Otherwise, I'd take the lamb, actually. Oh, lamb chops. Cooked them once, came out perfect. Second time, I tried to cook them, but they didn't come out at all because when I opened the package, they smelled a little bit too gamey for my taste. I know that lamb is going to have a little bit of that gamey smell, but these ones were like, there was something wrong with them, so I just dumped them in the trash. That was a really sad day. Sigil, Sticks, didn't spatchcock the chicken, so it didn't pop off. Hee hee. The fuck? I can't say cock, but I can say spatchcock? Rumble almost as retarded as YouTube. That's interesting. Johnny Guitar. I can hear Sticks now pronouncing it Bongina. Yeah. Dan Bongina. Since you sold out and became the head of the FBI, which is a legacy bureau that shouldn't exist at all, actually. Copium. Beer can chicken. Oh, God, I've seen that. Shove a can of beer up a whole chicken's ass. Sit it up right on the grill. Yeah, this is something a lot of you probably haven't seen. For some odd reason, and I have no fucking goddamn clue how this was invented, when, or why, and I don't care. They will literally take a chicken and put a can of beer up its asshole and then cook it that way. Yeah. No, people aren't horrible monsters that deserve to be destroyed or anything like that. S.C. Woods. Lamb rocks, but you need to be careful. Much of the lamb sold in the U.S. is actually mutton. Well, I was eating it in the Netherlands, so. Yeah. It's like the idea of taking a turkey and stuffing a dead chicken inside of its ass, and then stuffing a dead duck inside of the chicken, and then stuffing, like, I guess, boiled eggs inside of the duck's asshole and weird shit like that. It's like, look up Simply Sarah, by the way. I believe she's dead now, actually. So let me check that. Yeah, I believe that Simply Sarah died. Yeah. YouTuber. Yeah, she died a month ago. She's gone. I believe her channel is now gone. People are legacy uploading all of the stuff. Oh, come on. Don't say they took the channel down. Why would you take down a person's channel just because they're dead? You better not do that to me. When I croak, you better keep my fucking channel up. Yeah, our channel's gone. Well, that's that then. How sad. S.C. Woods, open the cam first. Well, yeah, I don't think you want to put a closed beer can in and roast it. Several hundred degrees. F. Winters loaded. Well, I mean, you can. You won't have an oven anymore. I met FBI. The real FBI director will do what Linda McMahon is doing with the education department and work out to be out of a job. Yes, agreed. Copium. Beer is excellent flavoring for barbecue. It steams the inside as the beer gets hot and eventually boils and gets beer on the inside and outside. Cooks like the regular barbecue chicken. It's pretty good. I'm not discounting the fact that it's probably tasty. I'm just saying, who was the first person who drank enough beers to be drunk enough to shove the beer can up the chicken's asshole? At some point, this is probably how that was invented, and I find that fascinating. By the way, please send no more super chats. I'm going to go offline in a couple of minutes. I gotta go out and get some food and shit. Michael D'Angelo, what's your top 3 most trusted news outlets? Me, myself, and I. Yeah. I don't trust any news outlets, so I use RCP to aggregate. Because then you get point, counterpoint, and then you go through the shit there. Ramon C. GTC, Cooking with Kay and Sarah are awesome. Yeah. Yeah, Simply Sarah had this one video where she made, it was like a bologna salad. And she's just taking chunk after chunk of meat and cheese and shit and grating it up into this fucking bowl. And it was just a massive pile of calories. And she spent years, actually, trying to do a low-carb diet. And for a while there, she was doing a bit better. Then she had this other video. She had fucking diabetes medication in the background. I'm like, what are you doing with your life? This is insane. It's another video in which her cat stole a piece of salami off the table. It just looks up, nope, and then runs away. And she just looks over it obesely. And it was, God, it was hilarious. I'm going to miss her videos. Thankfully, I've got a couple of them downloaded. Sigil, beer is fucking disgusting, and anyone that drinks it should be deported to the Congo with the rest of the apes. S.C. Woods, Florida man. Yeah, why do I get the feeling that the beer chicken thing was probably invented by a Floridian? Although I will say Colorado man and Vermont man are definitely giving Florida man a run for the money at this point. Afroshenix looks over obesely. Yeah, because when she turned to the side, her forehead is like so fat that it's like jutting out. And she's got like, 20 chins, so. Looks over obesely. I'm gonna make that into a channel meme. Mog of War. Add this to the Crack Sparrow Tricorn Fund. Can't just give Crack Sparrow Tricorn just to take it away. No, he's taking my Tricorn. Gorlock stares diabetically. Yeah, I am sad that Simply Sarah died. It's like, on the one hand, you're totally fucking messed up. But on the other hand, you are a content creator and you are relatively funny to watch, so yeah. And she was, I mean, look up Simply Sarah and see how large she was. We're not talking chubby. We're not talking fat. We're barely even talking obese. We're talking about somebody who apparently fell into a coma and had to be on an inversion table at one point, and they had to use two of them because she was so large. I would estimate 650 or so pounds. This is somebody who could barely walk, and who has clearly been being enabled by a mother, and had a weird relationship with her significant other, let's put it that way. I have a feeling it's the fact that she had to wear a piss bag so they could never fuck or something like that. Apparently his name was Jamie, if I remember correctly. Yeah, she was a huge bitch, exactly. Yes, she was also very bitchy. She was known to be a fairly unpleasant individual. Still sad to see her go, though. Sometimes even a bitch can be a bitch. Sigilstone, Pennsylvania man gives every other man a run for their money, but he doesn't make the news as often. Every year in the summer, I have automatic gunfire and explosions here in Allegheny River Valley. Yeah, there was gunfire actually apparently fairly nearby the other day, and this is a reasonably nice neighborhood. So yeah, after rambling about Simply Sarah, rest in peace. At least your videos were good. Everyone's got a redeeming quality. Apparently, no others, but yeah. I've got to go offline. I've got to docket some news, and I've definitely got to get some food because I'm a little bit hungry. And I'm in New York City, so I can get literally any food that I want. It's wonderful. That's about all. Peace out.